Hey everyone, it's a nice cold morning out here. Last night, if you followed any of my other videos, it was about 9 degrees. I stayed nice and warm in my cabin. If you've looked at anything else I've done, you know that I have a cabin that I designed and built completely debt-free to kind of start to break free of the grind. And we got a little bit of snow out here this last night and over the past few days, but definitely last night it is... Yeah, take a look at everything over there. All running through the woods and down the trail here. Um, just really beautiful, but really, really cold. And I thought today I would talk a little bit about, um, well, something I've been noticing in a lot of other videos that people have talked about and things that I've been following that I wanted to kind of touch on myself. And that is that the reality out there about most Americans, that's something I've been kind of coming to accept and realize is going on, is that nobody has any money. And a lot of us are kind of struggling in this situation where we'll see neighborhoods, we'll see other people that are just, they look like they're rolling in money. They've got these huge McMansions, they've got these huge homes. I used to live in a lot bigger home than where I'm at right now. And with all this huge homes, the bigger, more expensive cars, all the money they seem to be spending, it can seem a little bit confusing. Like, how can these people have all this money if there's so many Americans that are struggling? If the average American doesn't have but, according to statistics, about $500 or less in their checking account or their savings account. So if the average American barely has that amount, how are there people out there that are buying huge McMansions, all these very, very expensive cars, and looking like they're living the high life while, most of Americans are really suffering and struggling through it all? And the real answer to that is simple. They're not. They're usually very house poor in massive amounts of debt. And one of the things that was very revealing to me is a story of a woman who is a YouTuber, an influencer, I guess you could call it. I kind of hate that word. A lot of you feel that way about that same word too. But she was married to a guy who was in real estate. And the whole thing was a complete illusion. They weren't really doing very well at all, actually. And he ended up, unfortunately, self-deleting. And when that happened, it became revealed that they were $33 million in debt. They only had a couple $1,000s in their bank account, I guess. They owed all this money. And it only appeared like everything was great on the outside. But once you look past the surface, they were struggling so bad that he was so desperate that he ended up taking the action that he did and doing what he did to himself. So the real trick of all of this is to realize that nobody is doing nearly as good as you think they are. And as someone who is who's been around many people that seem like they have a lot of money, I can attest to this, that for the most part, most of what you see out there is just fake. It's people that look affluent, they look like they've got a lot of money, and they're really struggling, really quite miserable. And let's be honest, you don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. You don't want to have all that debt, all of that stacked up on top of you, just to find out down the road that it all comes collapsing in. So it's something to definitely consider and think about as you're going along. I had to switch hands there. I couldn't feel my other hand anymore. It is very cold out here. It's probably still in the teens at this point, but wow, look at that. Snow all over the ground everywhere. Not much. We actually recently out here ended up having, I would say, 5-6 inches over the last 2 weeks, and this is just a light dusting. For those of you that are in places where you get a lot of snow, you're gonna be like, oh, that's pretty lightweight, and really? Come on now. And you're right. But most of the time it doesn't really ever get that cold here. This whole cold snap, I guess the polar vortex is what they call it. It's been kind of interesting to get a lot of winter weather. Anyway, I know I keep looking around. I have to keep checking my surroundings as I walk because I'm not really sure where I'm planting my feet at certain points. But yeah, that was something that's been on my mind, and I've been thinking about it. How much we're struggling to keep up with stuff that's just an appearance. It's not real. It's not real at all. That you are trying to hold on to all that when the reality is the thing that matters the most is having as minimal things that you own that can be taxed or taken away from you, but even more so, the minimal amount of debt that you can have. Because the less debt that you have, the less that you owe on, and the more you get your freedom back. And there's a happiness and a peace to that. Like, I own my own business. I actually own more than one business. And I'm out here, even though it's a cold morning, not running the rat race, talking to you people, and enjoying just connecting with everybody and having a great time. And really, would that be possible if I was working a 9 to 5 and running around in a, sitting in a cubicle somewhere trying to hang on to whatever life I think I can put together? Through all of that, that would just be misery. So I suppose the most important thing that you should consider is, how much debt are you acquiring? How much debt are you trying to get a hold of as you think you're trying to gain happiness in all of this, but you're not really getting any happiness, you're getting misery. You're not happy in any of it, and you can't stand it. It's not worth doing. These are some thoughts that I think definitely you should consider every single day when you wake up. I mean, is your time your own? Are you trading your time for a measly paycheck when you could actually change up everything that you're doing and take control of it? And how much is your freedom and your time worth to you? It's getting nice and bitterly cold even out here. I'm more in the shade now where I'm walking. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts for the moment. I'm going to finish my walk, and I'll catch up with all of you later.